breakfast is out of a book called Habitudes. Habitudes was given to me by a friend of mine, Matt Thompson, years ago when I was working with the worship team and things at Sun Valley Community Church down in Gilbert, a big church now. And it was for college students talking about leadership. Now, I was not a college student at that time, but I did need to learn some of the things about leadership. So today I'd like to share a story in here that's called the Paul Revere Principle. I believe if you feel that you are a leader, could be or should be, you're going to want to hear this because it teaches us about leadership through God's Word. And so Paul Revere and William Dawes both made a midnight run, but only one was able to connect with and influence people. And that's two things in leadership that you need to do: connect with and influence people. Big part is, are we worth following, right? The test of the leader's credibility lies in his or her ability to mobilize others. We have an organization called In It for the Cause, where we do a thrift store so that we can raise funds to help folks in Mexico, Haiti, Peru, all over the world, in our local community as well. So are you in it for the cause? To be in it for the cause, someone's got to let you know what the cause is and then encourage you that it's a worthwhile cause to tie in with. And Jesus did this. His cause was salvation, and he set the tone for his disciples to follow and disciples all around the world to follow. He's a leader worth following. Now, we want to be the same. So here's how this story goes, and I'm going to read through most of it, and then we'll talk through a little. Just outside of Boston on April 18th, 1775, a young stable boy overheard two British soldiers talking. They hinted of an attack on the colonies in New England and said something about the townsmen having hell to pay tomorrow. Boy, does that sound familiar, huh? Okay, the young boy ran to inform the silversmith by the name of Paul Revere. After careful thought, Revere determined to mobilize the area against the attack that the British were planning, and the rest, as they say, the rest of the story is history. Paul Revere made his famous midnight run, which actually began about 10 p.m., and he raced on horseback through towns, villaging, sounding in Boston, challenging locals to get up and defend their country. He was hollering, "The redcoats are coming, the redcoats are coming." If you stayed awake through high school history, this is what we learned. By the next morning, as the redcoats secretly made their way inward, they were met in Lexington by a huge group of volunteers. Volunteers are mighty when they are assembled and motivated in the correct way. We call them American patriots. They were shocked, to say the least, the British. They were unprepared and outdone that morning. Now, and the Revolutionary War begins. Now, there was another interesting person named William Dawes who also took the ride. He rode about the same distance, hollered at about the same amount of people, about the same time, with the same cause, but he could not motivate people to get behind the cause that he was talking about. He was not able to motivate. It's not a question of his willingness or thought that there was a worthy cause. He didn't know how to motivate people and to get them out of bed, up, taking arms to defend their country. This contrast illustrates another important leadership truth, which the author here calls the Paul Revere Principle. When you boil down the essence of leadership to its bare minimum, it's about mobilizing others to act. Myself as a pastor, other pastors watching, if we can't get our people out of the house and on the street telling people about Jesus, then we've missed it. If we can't get those that are resistant to do what they're resisting because we firmly believe in it and they care enough about us to go